Box fan rotation week 9. Yes, week 9. There's only 4 weeks in a month. So we are now have been doing this for 2 months and 1 week. It is now the first full week of September, the week after Labor Day. So sad. Today's highs, like in the high 60s. However, this past Saturday, today's a Monday. This past Saturday, it was 82 degrees. So the fans were on all throughout the house, which was freaking awesome. Friday was the same way, it was in the 80s. In New England where I am, it's like a lot of times after September 1st, you fall off a cliff, but then sometimes you climb back up, you get a couple nice days. The mornings have been in the 50s, which has been a bummer. Short of the weekend, again, those warm temps. I was going for a run at 3:30 in the morning and it was 70 degrees. It was awesome. I was so happy. I want it to be like this year round. So I don't plan to live here forever. Okay, so that warrants another rotation. Today I don't really have any of the fans on because it's like 67 out. The sun's finally starting to poke out because it was overcast. And I do have legit fans that are kind of poised to get put away or serviced then put away to kind of hang out for the week. So it actually works out really well. I mean, this fan, I have no issues with it. I could put it on and just run it on high all week and it would be fine. I do have a couple that I was kind of pulling out that I hadn't seen in a while. They need a little TLC, so this might be a good week for them because they'll probably get little use just because it's cooler out. And then next week, I'm off traveling. The week after that, I'm traveling. Week after that, I'm traveling. So I've been home for a few weeks now and I hate it. I hate leaving. I love coming back. Okay, so you guys have seen this in some of the checkout videos. It does need to be cleaned. A little service. So we're just gonna run it on low. Move a little air. All right. I'll leave the camera on and take you through. So that's the sunroom clearly. And one of the fans I'm going to show you upstairs, one of the McGraw Edisons, is like legit, like I have the box for it. I think I have a few, but in terms of the traditional comfort fans, that is, I think, the only one that has a box, at least that's in that good of shape. The P25 I had shown, this has been on the channel a bunch of times, but I have the original box for that. That needs just a minor cleaning, so I left it out. Okay, so last week in here, I had a 3rd gen Lakewood P223. Well, look what I have here. Another one. I have 3 total. I've talked about it. This one has been some troublesome. While it physically looks amazing, it's in really good shape. I have owned this one the longest. I have owned this one for over 10 years. I probably plugged it in once and never used it again, just to try it when I got it. Because as I've said in other videos, I tend to run, if I'm gonna run a Lakewood or whatever, I tend to grab one of my 1st gens or 2nd gens, or even a P23. So the problem with this is it's a little stiff, and we went to service it. There should be a video out there at some point. And I spent 45 minutes off camera trying to get these blades off. They would not come off. What I didn't do, and I've done this before and it's an option, is remove the motor from the cabinet and separate the shell from the motor and try to kind of work that way. Defeats the purpose of having oil ports, but at the same time, you know, so I didn't do that yet. I just oiled the one side, which is such a half-ass way of doing it, but for now, that's what I did. And so I'm not gonna run this all the time because it's a little stiff, but I wanted to check and exhaust all my options before I pull the motor apart. Again, it has oil ports and I just don't want to have to pull the motor apart if I don't have to. So I reached out to a very knowledgeable source to see if they have any tips. So let's turn it on, you'll see what I'm talking about. Actually, it's going right. Maybe the oil on the backside kind of set in. When we get on the low speeds, see, this is low. really struggles. So we'll leave it on high. So here is a Robeson. It's actually a Frigid, branded as a Frigid. Speaking of frigid, that cool air is making it frigid. This fan we cleaned, Eddie and I cleaned, it has oil ports, would pop the blades off. It's really good shape. It's waxed, it's ready to go. The one thing I struggle with it, the hub kind of wobbles. I think there's either a warpage or a balance issue with it, but still works all right. Whoops, wasn't in the window all the way. Yeah, you can see that, right? So I know it's ridiculous. We have one fan on intake and one fan on exhaust. Yes, I'm using this room as a laundry room. So my thought was, this time of year, I'm not really going to use these fans much. I may have that on intake a little bit to help dry the laundry, fresh air, and then not have it turned off, and then have that one on exhaust just to pull the air through as I normally do. So we'll leave them on in this ridiculous manner for now. And we'll head upstairs to my room. So what in that room that we were in, we replaced, as I said, a third gen. I think that third gen I popped out. I think that's the one I'm going to end up keeping. And then I took out a 95. Where am I going? No, I was just going to Eddie's room. Just a quick peek of his mighty collection. I stripped his bed this morning. And that's just one half of his collection. That's not even all. That's not even a quarter of it. So in that other room downstairs, I had a 95 Lasko 3733. It's filthy. It runs really well though. And so I popped that out. We put the Robeson in. I'm gonna do a video of cleaning and servicing that 95. I have a 97 I've talked about ad nauseum. I've owned since I was 19. I have high hours on it. Totally restored it and got new blades for it because those D blades warp, unfortunately. All right, so this came out of that box. I really never have run this. It's dirty, like see the dirt there? I'm not gonna run it that much because when I pulled it out, one of the things I do when I pick up a fan that I haven't used in a while, I hold the cabinet with both hands, like on side to side, and I kind of turn the cabinet like this just to see if the blades move. If the blades don't move, I know it has a stiff bearing. Well, just pulling out of the box, I noticed the blades didn't move, so I gave it a little. So I ultimately stuck like a pen in there and just pushed the blades, and then it moved. So I'm turning this fan on. I don't remember when I bought this one, but again, as you know me, I'm stockpiling these comfort fans because they're my all-time favorite. And probably right behind them are the tan thin-in lights. I just love them. All right, so let's see what happens. Not bad. So I had a thin-in light in here that I really liked. See, as a kid growing up, the thin-in light that we had, or I should say not growing up, when I was really, really young, like under 6 years old. These things love to rattle. This seems a little, got bent in. This thing needs a little love. It's not horrible. See, what I don't like is when the bearing is a little stiff. The motor has to work a little harder. But all right, so what I was about to say is with the thin-in light, when I was a little kid, we had one, and all I remember is that thin-in light had the metal grills on both sides tan, and I have one of those that it needs some love as well, but it has a box. But my parents never used the window. It always leaned against the slider, like the door jamb to the slider with the screen, just the screen, you know, and it was in our living room. And then when my parents would turn on the air conditioner on the first floor, big vintage, I wish I knew what it was. It was humongous from a BTU standpoint to do the whole floor. It was in a dining room, so they used to put that thin and light where the living room met the family room and just kind of pull the air through. But using a thin and light, I'm so used to these translucent blades, so they have like that tan in the window. They just look really cool. Again, that's just one man's opinion. All right, so let's go outside and do a quick look. Yeah, I can feel the air coming through the steps. Up through the steps. Yeah, and then after this week, I'm really out of fans to rotate. Well, no, I should backtrack. I'm out of fans that haven't been rotated at this location. I have more fans at the other location, but we're getting somewhere, and it's okay because, as I said, the season's slowing down. All right. Each week you guys see this. I'm gonna I'm not sure how much longer I'm gonna go with the sprinkler. We finally had rain yesterday. Let's see if any of my fans burned up or blew up. All right, well, here's the Frigid. Frigid Robeson. Blue. Here's the stiff Lakewood 3rd gen. See, this is a sight for sore eyes for me, because this is what I remember as a kid growing up, looking up at our house, and you would see 3 of these. And what my mom liked about them, I've told this story before, is she's like, these fans are so great, you can't even tell that there's a fan in the window. It's true. When you turn them around and have them on intake, you certainly can. It's a metal grill and all that. The very incognito aesthetics, right? So lastly, my burnt out backyard, well, that's not lastly, but my burnt out backyard is, the weeds are finally turning green again. This is what I inherited. I'm hoping next spring I can focus on this, but it's just too much going on at once. Here's the Ultra. I figured the Ultra would make the most sense to put there because you guys know me, I tend to run fans on exhaust and whatnot, and the Ultra's not as pretty. Here's this other thin and light that will be a fixture in this room, but over there I think I'll kind of rotate things around. Whoa, holy screen. Oh, sorry about that. Really cool. Well, is week 9, the question is week 9 the end of the line for the fan rotation? I hope not, because again, I have more fans to bring over from the other location, and before I squirrel them away, I'd like to run them. So many fans I've acquired over the year, aside from just plugging them in when I first get them, they just get stashed away. And I don't know if next year I'll do a rotation like this, but it gives me a chance to rotate in some vintage ones. I won't rely on the vintage ones all summer long because I don't want to beat on them. That Robeson's doing pretty well, but we'll see. We'll see. And I'm also looking to probably find good homes for a number of my fans. Not because I hate them, not because I'm tired of them, but I just have too many to really enjoy. There's no such thing as too many, actually. Tornado, just hanging out off because that Edison's in my other window. Dayton's relaxing. All right, there you go. So week 9, maybe I'll see you for week 10. Can we do a week 10? We'll see. Maybe we'll just do one fan for a week 10. As always, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and see you in a week.